Hi everyone, this is Tuplex. Welcome back to Space Exploration. I actually don't think I'm going to go into space today, but we're going to be doing some planning. In any case, you may remember that when the coronal mass ejection came and got us, I ran out of power because my umbrella defense was consuming, well, basically all the power that I could produce. So the entire base browned out, and in doing so, the water, which in space exploration requires power for offshore pumps, the water stopped pumping to my reactors, and they emptied out. And so once the CME event was over, I was out of power that whole time. And then the reactors no longer had any water, so they couldn't start back up again, even though they were quite hot. They were getting fuel because my fuel insertion is powered by solar panels and batteries. But they couldn't get power. So the last time I was talking about storing up some water to keep the water running into the heat exchangers, but it seemed a better choice would be just to power the pumps by solar panels and accumulators, like I'm doing with the inserters over here. So I did some quick calculations. We've got each reactor array has 8 pumps. Each one consumes 50 kilowatts when it's pumping at full speed, which, to be honest, really rarely will occur, except when I'm at full draw. Even when I'm at full draw, I don't think they're going to need to run 100%. But anyway, 8 times 50 is 400 kilowatts. So I just designed a little solar circuit that would give me at least that much power. So I've got 12 panels and 10 accumulators. And it's isolated, so there's nothing running on it except for the pumps. And I will throw in a light as well. And this will run the pumps. So even if the nuclear power completely dies, we'll still have a supply of water, so that once things get back to normal, we'll be okay. Now, really, I don't expect to have that problem again, because we can be much better prepared next time. Of course, that's what I said last time. But anyway, we've got a day and 5 hours, so 29 hours of gameplay before the next one arrives. That one will require 1.93 gigawatts of peak power, which we can easily have by then. In fact, I could set it up right now, but I just don't want to, because I don't want to use uranium fuel cells just with reckless abandon. So, and yeah, I know I could add steam storage and all that stuff, but I don't want to mess with that. I'm going to keep it simple. So I just set up this solar for every set of 8 pumps, and while I was at it, I did double my nuclear power. Okay, so these were the original sets of reactors. So I've got my solar power over here, and then with the other ones as well. Okay, so I have 1.9 gigawatts of production capacity. I'll need 1.93, so theoretically we could survive the next one, especially if we went down here and turned on our old steam engines. That ought to put us over the top for the next CME. So I'm not too worried about that. So that's all set up there. Another thing I did is just added some more stuff to send into orbit. All the science packs are here now. We've got purple duplicated there just because I made a mistake when I was setting up the chests. We've got the rocket fuel. This is not full by any means, but we'll get there. I'm still trying to figure out what I want to send up there, but I don't know. I'm sure I'll need to send science packs, the vulcanite blocks and all that other stuff. Some people commented that they hate to see me sending rockets up that aren't completely full, so which makes sense. It does take a lot of resources to send up a rocket, so we might as well completely fill it up. It's not like we need more fuel or anything, depending on the load. So I'll just wait till it's filled up last time. I also set up water barrels, so we'll be able to send water barrels up there. And that's just coming from a pump over here. So that's about it. But like I said, I'm still kind of trying to figure out what I want to send up there. So I'm not going to launch the rocket right now. But we can take a quick look just to remind ourselves of where we stand with our space platform. I've got 2 labs. We're down to only 18 rocket science packs, so we won't be able to do any more research until I make more of them. And the making of the rocket science packs is what I'm currently trying to figure out. I did expand the platform a bit, but the science packs themselves I've been working on in the planner. So trying to formulate a plan for moving forward here, and I think what we'll need to do in general terms is to set up many of these rocket silos here on Nauvis to where we can send up, rather than send some vast mixture of many different things up in one rocket over and over again. I think what will be better for us to do will be to kind of think of the rockets as trains and set up a dedicated rocket for each commodity that we want to send up there. Okay, so for example, maybe we'll have a rocket for red circuits, we'll have a rocket for copper plates, we'll have a rocket for water barrels, a rocket for science packs, and so on and so forth. And then up in the platform, we'll have dedicated landing pads for each of those commodities. So these will be like our train stations, if you will, where the rockets will go. They will land. They will provide the commodity that we want, which will move into storage and onto some sort of a bus or a bot network up in space. And then we'll recover the cargo pods and the rocket sections, whichever rocket sections survive the trip. And the capsules. And then we'll have a rocket that will, from time to time, send down all those rocket parts to be reused to build more rockets. So how I imagine the home base, or the base here on the home world of Nauvis to look, is, we'll continue expanding our grid. We'll set up some more dedicated, we're going to kind of mega base it here on the home planet. To say it in few words, so we'll set up dedicated production cells. Everything that we built so far, we will use to make science packs and to build things for the mall. And then I'll set up dedicated production cells here to send up the ingredients that we need for the base up in space, or bases up in space. Eventually we're going to need to go to other planets to get resources that we can't find here on Nauvis, so that we can process them up there. So like I said, we'll, depending on what commodities we need up there, we'll have something that'll send up water barrels, for example. So we might just set up a train station that sends, that just creates water barrels, and then we'll take them to a rocket platform to be launched. Now we've got 2 options here that I've been considering. One is that, let's make a little schematic here. So let's just let's just imagine that this is our train grid and these are all, you know, various production areas. You know, maybe we'll have some smelters in various locations and so forth. So one idea would be to set up all these discrete production units, and this one is misaligned. We can't have that. We'll have all these production units. We'll make the stuff, and then we'll pick it up on a train and then bring it back to some sort of central rocket launching location. Okay. So the idea there is that all the rockets would be built in one place, and we would bring all the stuff that we need to send into space to the rockets to be sent up. One potential issue that I can see with that is that we're going to have basically everything on the planet, all the trains on the planet eventually converging to one location, which is not going to be good for traffic. Okay. The other option, because building these rockets only takes 3 ingredients. All we need is a capsule, rocket sections, and rocket fuel. So the other idea is I can have another production facility where we make packed rocket parts, right? And then we'll have a section that's making the rocket fuel in large quantities, you know, wherever that is in here, and capsules. And then we could deliver the rocket parts by train to each of these areas and have the rocket launch from each of these individual production units. And since the amount of parts we need to build a rocket is a lot less than the amount of parts that we actually want to send up into space, it seems to me that logistically this might be a better idea. Now, the actual rocket part factory does require lots of different ingredients, right? So maybe this factory is going to need lots of trains coming in. So I need to weigh those options a little bit more. Either way, we're not, I'm not going to start building this right now. So I've got some time to think about it, but these are the two options for the novice base that I need to evaluate and decide which way to go. So if you guys have, I know many of you watching this are more experienced with this mod than I am. So please let me know your comments, right? So option A is have a rocket at each production area that's fed with rocket parts brought in by train. And option B is bring all the manufactured goodies to a central area where we build the rockets and load the rockets and launch the rockets, right? Like a giant rocket hub. So those are the two options I'm weighing here. And please let me know what you all think about that. We did get our bot research done, so we've got a couple upgrades on the bots now. We've got more movement speed and more cargo capacity, which is good for us, but that does mean we can't unlock any more stuff. Fortunately, all the stuff that I need to make these rocket science packs, I do have unlocked, right? All those structures, which are going to be the supercomputer, right? We can make those. The manufactories, we can already make those. Fuel refineries we make here. And then the decontamination facility we can make. So essentially we need manufactories, decontamination facilities, and supercomputers up in space, and everything else we can make here. At least the other buildings we can make here. Okay, so so I ran this plan in Hellmod, and let me know what you think about this too. Right, I've got all the, let's call them terrestrial science packs. I have the capacity to build these at 90 per minute. Now, when I look at the tech tree and all the things that we still have to research, we're going to need lots of different science packs, but we don't need, I don't see that we necessarily need huge numbers of science packs. So I'm not sure if I should be thinking more, aggressively in terms of my science output, or if 90 per minute is going to be fine. I mean, obviously there's a few researches that require thousands, but you know, we had that even here on this planet, right? We did atomic bomb, and it wasn't a terribly long waiting for that stuff to get done. You know, as I think that if I start building, like, if I scale up my science pack production, then I'm going to be back to that old game where I'm just completing research faster than I can really even see what it is that I'm getting done. So my impression, again, my inexperienced impression right now tells me that sticking with 90 a minute for all the other science packs is probably not a bad idea. But again, you guys tell me what you think about that. And if we need to be a little more aggressive with science pack production, we can do so. But for now, you know, as far as just getting all the tech unlocked, it seems like 90 per minute is probably going to be all right. There is quite a lot of research to get done. But it seems like where this mod offers its challenges, it's in complexity more than it is in massive production volumes. Right? And the goal is to get to this spaceship victory. I think that's my victory condition, right? And that needs pretty much all the science packs. Okay, so anyway, so the plan right now is for 90 a minute. And, you know, and the reason I'm kind of questioning whether I'm thinking aggressively enough is that the number of buildings that we need to make this are not that great, but there are quite a lot of ingredients involved. So the main ingredients are the barrels, satellite telemetry, which, as far as I know, we can't fabricate. I think we can only get it. Yeah, I think we can only get it from sending satellites into space. Speaking of which, oh yeah, we just launched a rocket. Oh, okay, and we discovered a new star. So we're still discovering lots of stuff. Let's see the interstellar map. Which one did we discover? Alpheus, or Alpheus. Oh, okay, so that was this one. And then I imagine we'll have solar systems. Each one of these will have their own solar systems. So, okay. Yeah, so it looks like, can I scroll? Okay, I can't scroll my event log here, but I can see that the last two discoveries were stars. So we still have a lot of stars that I haven't identified yet. And I'm wondering if maybe after we discover all the stars, maybe we'll discover stars or planets around those stars. But it would appear that our current system has been fully explored. How do I get to that? Okay, and Calida system. Okay, so here's our solar system. Here's our planet. There's one closer to the star, and then we've got Abaddon, and then the asteroid belt, Budkai, Bellerophon, Wild, Ezra, and then another asteroid belt. And each of those has lots of different materials that we need to exploit at some point. And probably some of them have biters too. Where was I? Oh yes, telemetry. Actually, we can take a quick look here and see how much of that we've got. I've got 2.3K of those. I wonder if those are used. All right, it looks like those are only used in the rocket science pack. So I don't know if maybe once we discover everything, hopefully the mod is designed to to give us enough of those to win the game. I assume so. Okay, so the barrels we know about, telemetry we know about. Now, all the fluids in space are going to be, you know, we're going to be sending up lots of water barrels and things like that. So, yeah, and I've already loaded in a lot of empty barrels, but I removed that. So I'm kind of hoping that the fluids and stuff that we send up there will give us enough empty barrels that we don't have to send up empty barrels. You know what I mean? Hopefully we'll be unbarreling enough fluids to take care of it, and then we can consume the empty barrels in science pack production and not have to send empty barrels back on a rocket or scrap them. Although we can scrap them and get steel. Okay, and then the solid rocket fuel we'll make here. There are actually a couple of other recipes for solid rocket fuel that I haven't... Well, there's one more that I haven't used yet. Let's see. All right, so we've got the one from solid fuel and light oil, which is where we're getting most of it. We have the one from copper plate and water, which we're making in our deep core mining operation. And then you can also make them from vulcanite blocks. Vulcanite blocks are used pretty much, well, they can be used in many different recipes. I was looking this up earlier. If we look at where they're used, let me just explain real quick this one. I loaded in a mod called Flare Stacks. Because I set up trash collection over here at my LTN depot. So each car now has an inserter that goes into an active provider chest. And then I made these 3 stations dedicated for fluid wagons. And these have pumps that will pump out up here and then into these flare stacks that will just destroy whatever fluids come out of here. And the reason I did this is because, well, it's probably a good safety measure to do no matter what. I did actually have an issue where I had a traffic jam, where none of the trains were moving for a while. What happens in that case is that LTN will cancel. LTN requests will time out after a while. So I had a request for stone. I had a train with stone in it that got stuck. And then after a while, it just canceled the request. So the stone train came back to the depot. And then it was sent... It wasn't full, and then it was sent to pick up iron, and then it came to my smelting area. Now, lucky for me, the iron from the train is going into here with filter inserters, right? Now this was a fortunate accident because I don't know if you guys remember, but when I first tried to make these mini loaders, I made filter mini loaders by mistake. And I'm still using them here. So all the stone got onto these belts, and then the belts just stopped because they weren't able to get inside. And so thankfully, I didn't end up with a bunch of stone brick going down my iron lines, right? So I got pretty lucky there. And I have a friend that says it's better to be lucky than good. And that was definitely the case this time. So that little incident prevented a disaster, but in any case, it became obvious that I need to take some safety measures. So now if a train comes to the depot with anything in it, it's going to get emptied out. Now, taking care of fluids in that way can be very tricky because you have to try to detect what fluid is in there, because fluids can't mix in this game. So you can't just send them all to a bunch of tanks or whatever. You have to, if you get one fluid in a tank and then a train comes in with a different fluid in it, then it's not going to get emptied. So this way, any fluids that come back to the depot will just get destroyed, and then we don't have to worry about what's what. So that's why I loaded that mod, and that's where it is. These will each destroy 50 fluid per second. And it only works for liquids, by the way. There's the flare stack mod has it has a gas vent for gases. It's got the flare stack, which is for fluids, liquids. Maybe that can work on gas too, although I'm not sure. I don't know why they would have a gas vent if you can use the flare stack. So I'm assuming that the flare stack only works for liquids. And then you have an incinerator. This particular incinerator requires fuel. And then there's an electric incinerator, which doesn't require fuel. And the incinerators are for solids, if you just want to destroy solid stuff. Okay. So I just wanted to explain that. And then obviously the actor providers are so that any solid material that comes in here will just get picked up by the bots and put into our storage to be used for some other purpose. So this will make sure that the trains stay empty. When they come to the depot, they do have an inactivity condition. So even if they come back with a lot of stuff, as long as there's being unloaded or fueled, they won't be considered ready again for the next, for the next trip, the next schedule. Okay. Back to the science packs. All right, and then machine learning data and chemical gel. Those two things I have to make in space because they can only be made in the space specific structures. Okay, so barrels, I just put in here just so I can see them on the plan, right? The same with the fuel. We can get the fuel from various ways. We could even potentially make the fuel in space if we decide to, but for now I'm just gonna assume that we're gonna send up rocket fuel to the space platform. Same with the vulcanite blocks, although I think there's only one way to make vulcanite blocks, but they are used in lots of different things. So I'm thinking that probably at some point, let's take a look at that. That comes from washed vulcanite, but if we look at where they're made or where they're used, you can use them to make copper, right? So you could do like enhanced smelting, and you can do that here on the planet with the industrial furnace, or you can do it in space with the thermodynamics facility. But this, you add in a vulcanite block and you get more than one plate per copper ore. And then you've got the delivery cannon, which I need to learn about, by the way. You can use it for glass. It's used in rocket science packs, of course. It's used to make decontamination facilities, cation, ion exchange beads, whatever those are used for. Productivity modules, ingots. Right, so there's a number of different uses for that besides just using them in the science pack. All right, and then we have machine learning data, which requires blank data cards and electronic circuits. And then you need coolant as well. So you can see that you put in cool thermofluid, and then you get out 25-degree thermofluid. Okay, and then the cool thermofluid you make by running the 25-degree thermofluid into a radiator. And it looks like it is a lossy process, right? You put in 50 of the room temperature thermofluid and you get 49 of the cold thermofluid. So thermofluid seems like something that we'll have to produce in, on an ongoing basis up there. Unfortunately, you won't be able to have a completely closed loop because eventually it'll run out. But the 25, let's look up the thermofluid. Fluid. Is it 25? Okay, see, I don't know what it's... the search is a little tricky sometimes because you have to know the... you have to know the name as it's coded, not necessarily the canonical name that we use in the game. Cool. Okay, here's some thermofluid. There we go. Yeah, maybe it's called coolant or something in the game code. So, thermofluid. Okay, obviously it's made as a byproduct, but I think you... Okay, yeah, so I think you have to craft the warm thermofluid and then chill it to be used in the various recipes, and then you get warm thermofluid back again, or room temperature thermofluid. So you can make it with plate, sulfur, cosmic water, and heavy oil. So... So should I bring cosmic water down from space to make thermofluid here, since all of these other ingredients are local? Let's call them terrestrial, even though we're not on Terra, we're on Novus. Novian, whatever, I don't know. But yeah, I wonder, is it more efficient to bring cosmic water down and make it here and then send it back up? Nah, probably not. Or we just send up all these ingredients to make it up there. And then there's also this recipe using cryonite rod. And I think that's all the... I think those are the only ways that you can make the fluid without just changing, without just a temperature change. And then you've got various levels of other cold fluids. So, and that's not built into this plan yet. I need to figure out where and how we make thermofluid, but I'm imagining that I'll just make it up there in space, and since it's only going to be used up there, even though we'll have to send several different ingredients to do it. Now the blank data cards are used all over the place. Okay, so if we do a where used search on this. It seems like pretty much it seems like all the research stuff uses blank data cards, right? So we can use it to make machine learning data, which we use for the rocket packs. We can make annihilation data, astrometric data, astronomic insights, atomic data, etc., etc. It's used for lots of different data, which I'm imagining are used, you know, in all the various research endeavors. So I think it highly likely that when I set up production of machine learning or of the blank data cards, I will do it in its own little modular section, because I imagine that we'll have to make lots and lots of these, you know, as opposed to just the 90 per minute that I want for my little science experiment here. Okay, and those are made with advanced circuits, copper plates, and polished data storage substrates. Okay, now the polished data storage we can make in space with the decontamination facility. That's the only one that we can make it with, so that has to be made in space. There are two different options. You can make it with, you can make the polished data storage substrate. There are two different recipes. I don't know how I choose another one, but let me find it here. Polished. There we go. You can make it with rough substrate plus cosmic water, or you can make it with rough substrate plus chemical gel. And since this recipe already uses chemical gel, I thought it would be better just to make it from the chemical gel. Although I should probably... Well, these are used in the data cards. Yeah, so I'm going to be making a lot of these things, a lot of these substrates. Now, the chemical gel is made with 10 cosmic water. You get 20 chemical gel for 10 cosmic water, which means each chemical gel has half a cosmic water in it. Whereas the cosmic water recipe uses 5 cosmic water and also generates scrap and contaminated cosmic water. So that's why I thought that using the chemical gel would be better. It seems like it's more... I mean, we'll have to use petroleum as well, but it certainly uses a lot less cosmic water to do it that way. And the petroleum I can ship up there. Or I can make it in space. Right? There's a biochemical facility. So that gives us a lot of options. We can always send up water and crude oil and make petroleum in space if we have to, versus shipping it up. As a matter of fact, we need lubricant in space. We can get heavy oil from scrap in space. So maybe we may end up doing all the refining in space. But for now, I'm thinking that I'll just send up these fluids in barrels. The petroleum gas, the lubricant, and the water. No, I don't think I will. If I have to send water, anyway, I can send water and crude oil, and then I can get all the other fluids that I need up there. And then I could also make my rocket fuel up there. Yeah, so maybe sending water and crude oil will be a better way to go. Again, you experts, help me out with that one, if you don't mind. Now, the rough substrates I can make here on the planet. They take iron and glass. So I could make them up on the planet, or I could make them in a manufactory in space. That would require a single manufactory. Or I could make them in space assembly machines. Same deal, but fewer machines. Now, if I make them in space, then that means I need to send up glass and iron. But 36 substrates come from 72 glass and 142 iron. Now, I don't know what the stack size is, but I'm guessing if I make the substrates here, I'll be able to make a denser cargo in terms of value. In other words, a cargo rocket full of these things will probably represent several cargo rockets full of iron plates and glass. Now, I may end up with iron plate and glass up there anyway for other stuff, so we'll see. But for now, I'm thinking I'll just make these here on the planet and ship them up. And then we'll get scrap out of that. Okay, and then the chemical gel and the cosmic water we kind of already talked about. So I think we'll probably have separate areas making cosmic water and chemical gel, since those are used in various applications. You know we need those to make buildings and stuff like that, to make the labs at least. Now the scrap, there are several things we can do with the scrap. So let's look at where scrap is used. Right now, all the scrap that I am producing, I'm just turning into landfill, which is a great way to get rid of a lot of scrap quickly. Because you could take 100 scrap and turn it into a single piece of landfill. But I could also take a scrap and I could turn it into, well, we have a 10% chance to get something from the scrap, which is not so great. But that means that out of 100 scrap, I can either get 1 landfill, or I can get 10 of these various things, either heavy oil, stone, copper, or iron. So I think I'm going to start doing this with my scrap rather than just turning it into landfill. Now the other thing, I'm going to be generating scrap in space. So landfill is not useful in space, but this could be. So this means that eventually I'm going to be doing something with iron ore, copper ore, stone, and heavy oil in space. And that's probably where more vulcanite block will come in. Oh, I can turn ore into landfill too. How nice. Right, so the only thing I can do with iron ore in space is combine it with a vulcanite block to make iron plate in the thermodynamics facility. And I think that's what I'll do. But I can also do that here. I can also do that here on the planet. The recycling facility works in space and here on land. So for all the scrap that I have down here, I'm going to run this process on it. And that's next on my to-do list. Okay, so those are the plans as of now. Didn't do much building in this episode, but there's a lot to think about. And I've been spending some hours in the game just trying to figure out what to do next. So the complexity is real, let me tell you. Now the scrap that I'm getting, I get a little bit of scrap from processing my life support capsules or modules or whatever they're called. My life support canisters. And then the other scrap that I get, I think is, I know I'm getting scrap from something else. What is it? It's not from this. Oh yeah, it is from this. Right. So just eating up the water and making rocket fuel from my core mining gives me a little bit of scrap. And that goes in here where it gets whisked away and turned into landfill. So the thing I want to do next is start being a little bit better about what I do with the scrap, since I think it's kind of a waste to turn it into landfill when I could get useful things out of it. So I'll start processing it here on the planet. Like I said, I have that on my to-do list, and then the next item on the to-do list is make science in space. So there's a few more steps we need to put in between. But anyway, that's kind of the near-term plan right now. Please let me know what you think. If you can see any major problems with the plan, please let me know. Or if you can think of better ways to go about doing this, please let me know that as well. But that's the plan for now, and unless I hear otherwise from all of you guys, that's what I'm going to be doing. So thanks a lot for watching. Hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.